Hi everyone, welcome. Ryan here again and welcome to another video. Today is going to be another workshop tour. It's that time again. Let's go into the workshop and show you what we got. I'm going to be honest, I didn't really have enough time. We've been so busy with work up to Christmas that I haven't had a chance to prepare a video for today. So, I mean, it falls in a good time because generally every year at this point I do another video of a workshop tour, and that is exactly what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to show you around the whole workshop area where I'm in now, and behind me the spray room area, show you what's changed, show you what my aims are for next year, and basically just give you a little walk around. If you haven't watched my channel, we're in a two-section workshop. It's just one long workshop with a sliding door behind me to divide up the two spaces, workshop and spray room. And it's basically made for making fitted furniture, wardrobes, alcove units, window seats. Let's do the tour and show you what we got at this moment. So the way I've left it is a little bit of a mess, and the reason being is I knew I had to come in here at some point over the Christmas holidays. We had lots of work on. We bought lots of stock last year, lots of sheet material. We've got pallet behind there, and we've got loads of materials which I'll show you around that corner in a moment. That's the reason for the mess. We got so many offcuts too that I'm trying to sort out. They're all too good to throw away. There's always a time where you go, oh, I need to make a shelf. We don't need to cut a full shelf, a full sheet, shall I say. Let's use an offcut. They're just basically too good to throw away. So we got a rack over there full, and we've got loads here. So hence the mess. We're halfway through a job at the moment as well. So if you look over this section, we've got a few birch bits, a few birch strips, and we've got some birch doors underneath this little protector. We just got a bit 6mm. We have got a leak, so that plastic is there for the time being, just in case. But we'll go over that in a minute. We've got a big old wardrobe. Let's see if we can dig that out. Oh, there we go. That's quite easy. We've got a wardrobe there, which is a mixture of birch and painted MDF. The interior is all MDF and painted. On the outside, we've got straw fascias, which are painted the same as the inside. Saying that might be a colour. I think it is a colour. And on the outside here is all birch. So the doors are birch and the trims are birch. So that's what we're protecting right now. We've got a load of doors been made and sanded. They're going to have another sand up again before they get oiled. But that is floating around in the workshop at the moment as we speak. Until that goes out, sort of like mid-January, we need to paint all these components. So that's a job for when I come back. Haven't really planned the day that we're going to come back, possibly around the 8th of January. But apart from that, that is basically what we got in here. We've got all the drawers there. They need to be painted. They are ready for painting. And we have got some oak veneer shelves. So we laminate our shelves up if we are making chunky floating shelves. Okay, these are oak veneer, and we've just glued two 19mm together and clamped them together. To be honest, we generally pin and glue when we laminate shelves, but for some reason we've changed over our pin gun and it's leaving marks because the rubber tip has disappeared. We've lost it, so we didn't want to have to wax any holes that the pin gun would have made, so we clamped them. A bit overkill at the moment, but they're going to be pin free, so they are nearly done. To be honest, they just need their holes drilling in the back for the pins, and they need to be edged on the front edge, then sanded up and oiled. So they are floating around. That's another job that we are doing. As you can see here, we've got this contraption, which I made a video of that a week or two back. So that needs to go somewhere. We need to find a place for that. Chop saw always floats around here and on site. Generally goes on site for cutting our trims to length. So we just take that with us when we go. We need to sort out this saw once and for all. It would be nice to get a panel on there, and that was always the plan, to have a birch panel to cover that up. We need to get our door sorted, but before we do that, we've got new runners to go on our fascias. So they don't look great and they need a bit of attention. We oiled them the wrong colour, or well, when Sean was oiling them, they went light rather than dark because we had two different types of birch ply batches. So we need to sort the colour out, but we're not liking the push release. They're just not working for us at the moment. And so what we are going to do is we're going to just take out all the drawers, swap them over for some standard runners, and then we're going to just put some finger pull handles here. And we've got a great little example here. This is what we're going to do on all of our fascias. So that's a job to come. Most likely not going to happen straight away, but that's what we need to do. We need to change the runners over and put handles on the front, neaten these doors up, and this side would be done. It's exactly the same on the other side, to be honest. We need to sort out extraction too on our workbench, because we used to have a cyclone in there and it stopped working efficiently. So we took the cyclone off and we've just plugged our ultimate workbench hoses. They go from there now directly, well, they go directly to the hoover. So it's not going through the cyclone, which means we're just filling up the hoover and then it fills up very quickly. And our extraction in the table saw isn't great as well. So that's problems that we need to solve this year. Over here, we didn't finish off the fascias. A little thing to say is if you are doing a job like this, do not leave snagging, because just like most people, snagging never gets snagged, does it? And it will just stay there forever. So while I wish that back in the day when we built this whole workbench, we just finished it off completely. And here we've got our lift, but we're having problems with the lift. For some reason it just stopped pumping and I haven't got a clue why. I need to look into that. I haven't even looked into the reason why it stopped pumping. But other than that, I mean, we wouldn't need to have this in here. We could just use the chop saw. That's the whole point of this ultimate workbench. Everything is to hand. So the extraction on the saw isn't great. It works. And we don't use that really because the lift doesn't work. A few problems that we need to solve. And am I realistically going to get this done in January? Most likely not. It's going to be something that probably stays on the list. There's only me and Sean. I've got kids to look after. I've got other family life. I've got the business to run, everything like that. So time is very precious. So who knows? Again, another thing that's taken up my time is the leak. We had a leak around the skylight, which is a pain in the butt, and the plasterboard broke away and came down. So that needs to be addressed. It's not dripping at the moment. I've put a bit of plastic up on the roof, but it's a short-term fix. Once I sort all of this out today or over the Christmas holidays before we go back, I can then sort the workbench out and just neaten that up. So that should be absolutely fine. And we'll just start cracking on with that. That should all go in the spray room pretty soon. Right, so if we move over here, we've got two router tables. And this was the one that I made, and it's a pretty good little budget version. I love the fence on it, and I love the router lift for a trimmer. If you want to see that or get plans, look up the top there. But that's fantastic. We need a place for these two router tables to go, because one does like the rebates on our drawers, and the other one is like moldings on so ledges and bits and pieces like that. So they are really, really handy. The fences are great on them. I like the one from BANGGOOD more than the trend version. Looking around, we've got lots of offcuts here. I mean, like I said, all this is going to disappear pretty soon. But right, let's move over to this section. Everything's leaning up against the pack at the moment of MDF. We've got 18mm and 6. But I don't know if you watched the video a few months back of me showing you that this pack nearly fell on me when it was, well, it did fall on me when it was in the spray room. And it was a close call. We moved it in here because it was too dangerous next door standing up. It's so floppy when it's on end. But I need to get rid of it. I need to do something with it. So I need to build some racking in there the next few days before we go back, which leaves this space free again. And the reason it always looks busy in here now, and it always generally does, even though we've got space, is that pack is always in the way. And it just creates a big mess. We are just wasting space. And I need that space anyway, because that wall there is going to be dedicated to something else. So rack space over there. That's always great. Always picking out little bits and pieces. But it's full now. Can't put any more in there. Over on this side, we've got the rack space for the rips, like 2.4 meter rips for our trims. Anything up to around 300mm fits in there. And we have got a little section here. Well, we need to figure out what to do with those offcuts, because that gets a little bit annoying. That pile of offcuts generally comes out to here. So again, offcuts is a pain in the butt. We might need to build something else somewhere. We were talking about that space there. So if I move into here, don't know if you have followed me. If you haven't, we've got sliding doors that slide backwards and forwards. I need to address that because one of the wheels is not working very great. I think it's the actual track up there is bent for some reason. We rested some materials on this door once and it bent the track, I think. They work just for now, but yeah, all of these open up to one and they all close. So when we're making dust in here, I can spray in here and keep most of the dust out. We don't spray with HVLP or anything that fussy. We are spraying with airless sprayers. So what I generally say to people when they ask is a few bits of dust floating around does not affect my work because we're using household paints generally, like let's look through the paints, eggshells and silks and eggshells and silks mainly. And if a tiny bit of dust goes in there on the finish, you don't notice it. Whereas if you're spraying with PU or I don't even know the types of the paint that you use, HVLP, solvent based, not too sure. Then one little speck of dust can ruin the whole finish, whereas in here it's not. So hence the reason the setup really works, and a bit of dust in here doesn't make a massive difference because the dust does get in. If you looked in the light, you would see dust floating around. But hey ho, it works. It works. And we still get those awesome finishes. Am I going off topic? Yeah, let's go back here, to be honest, because over here we've got a work B, C and C. It's 1500 by 1500. It's not the Z1, the newest one. We've had it for about 2 years. But a guy called Sam, a friend of mine that we've got to know each other over the past few years, he's been so helpful to come over here and help me finish it off with the electrics and get it all set up. I did all the framework and got that done with my dad. It took me 2 years to get to that point. But now it is finished. We've had it moving around. It's ready and we need to put it somewhere. The idea back in the day, before we started buying stock a few years ago, if I come back, we didn't have all of this timber here before. From that point there, this was the original rack space there, okay? So can you see that line? So from that line on where all the white stuff, that white looking stuff is, that wasn't there. So we were going to build like a little framework that came around. It's going to have a glass window and you can use the sliding doors on the other side to open it and access that room from the workshop. But now that's not the case. We've got so much. We've got a couple of hundred sheets lying around everywhere, plus more is coming in. We need to give the CNC a place to live. So I was thinking of a swivel bench and all of that, and that was going to be the plan. And I did buy plans off eBay because I couldn't bother to work it out myself. I could have done, but a guy on eBay had a plan like where you swivel the table where you need it. But it was going to take up a lot of space. It was going to be about 2 meters long, 2.2 to be honest, and it was going to be about 2 meters high, this workbench, by the time we took into account to make it strong and stable. So we kind of scrapped that idea because Sam, when he was here helping me, said, well, why don't you just pivot off the wall? And this is where that wall space just there is going to come in handy. So basically, it's going to come out like this when you need it. And when you don't, it's going to flip up and into that space like that. It's going to pivot just below, most likely. I think it's just below that point there. So I've got to build something for it to pivot off. So that's the plan over the holidays. It's building like a little table that is nice and rigid and it folds down, and then the legs just on butterfly little nuts, you just swivel down and then 2 legs come down. The strength will be in the hinge. But yeah, the CNC is going to live here and swivel down. It is going to take up about 600 mil in depth away from the wall. We do need to take into account that this wall tapers at an angle. So we need to make sure it's either lower or across. So when it pivots down, it's not going to hit. But that's where the CNC is going to live. Hence the reason I need to move all of this and get this done in the next week or so before the 8th. Lots to do. That is what needs to be done. And I'm thinking when it goes up, we can put a little bit of shelving at the top. So when it comes down, there's a few shelves for screws or CNC bits or whatever you want up the top. And also when you fold it down, it could act as a workbench, possibly, if you could retrofit it when it's down. I'm not too sure. One step at a time. But first things first, we need to move this whole pile of MDF, all right? So if I step back, this is what we've got right now. It's a bit of a mess. Just forget about this because this is going. And most of the time when we are busy, we do have things taking up spaces here and there and everywhere. And it's not often you see it clear in here. And just because we just go through quite a lot of work. But we need to move that to access the pile and move all these offcuts. We also have a few random bits and pieces over there which needs to be moved. But in order to move that whole pack, I was thinking, let's go back through, it's going to get stacked back up here. Right, let's move some of these spray racks out the way. So we haven't got much space. I'm going to close, or I'm going to open, shall I say, that sliding door. We just need to make sure that we can get materials in and out. We need enough access for now. We've overkilled with the 6mm. We've got 100 sheets of 6mm there, and we've got some in the racks over here too. We've got about 20 sheets there. So we're not going to run out anytime soon. To be honest, I want them to run out a little bit to gain some space. We've got about 600 or 800mm to spare there. I don't particularly want to build a rack over here, just because I use it for my painting and my wall space for stacking when I'm spraying. So I'm thinking I need to build some racks here. The last time I put the 6mm up here was so dangerous. I don't know why I did it. We had no walls in between, no studs. Like, we've got a stud wall there, and we've got a stud wall there, and then there. I think the reason being is just takes up so much space. So we need to get some CLS timber on edge that way, and we just need to build some partitions. We might be able to shove like 20 6mm in, 20 into each section. So I need to build some partitions. But if you see here, we're about, I'm going to say 800 high. Let's get the tape measure and see how much we need to store. Yeah, 800, 798mm worth needs to go over here. So we've got that to stack. We've got a little bit of space here. That might take about 150mm worth just there. But then again, we need to put some studs in there to stop the 6mm flapping around, or I could take out a few of these 25s and slot some 6s in between, which I may do, just to keep them from bending and flopping around. If you have a look at the 6s in there, they do go a little bit floppy. Over here is just for random half sheets, quarter sheets, just stuff that is just too good. Got some random bits of OSB and just bits that you do go through these racks every now and then and utilize them. Up here is general long stuff. We've got some old copper up there, I think, when I was doing a little project, my radiator. We've got some extra long pieces. We've got like cornice components, and we've got all our 6mm strips for our shaker style. So when we make a whole batch of shaker style strips, we store them up there. So I think that's going to stay there for the time being, unless I sort it out one day. Need to sort that out too. Just need to pin that back up because I did have a leak, and that's why I pulled it down. When I say a leak, it's the tiniest bit of felt that maybe just pulled away a joint after being there for a few years. The joint just comes away and the water seeps in, and then it just creates chaos. So that needs to be solved, as in we need to pin that back up. Once we've made the racks, we brought that in, then we can put the CNC in that position, and then the racks will be fine. Need to do something with that chair because I bought 2 of these for a simulator. I've attached that to my son's simulator. I'm building him. We got a few other bits and pieces over here. That's just a present for someone storing. We got some bits and pieces like an air quality meter and other bits and pieces. I don't, to be honest, don't actually know what's in them. Okay, let's go over to the spray booth side. Just nothing has really changed on this department. I did buy a Graco GX FF, the one with the hopper, because we did have a door that got damaged. Sean unfortunately damaged the blue door. I only had the tiniest amount of blue paint. I didn't want to have to spend another 100 quid on blue paint. I know, you probably think I sound tight, and you go, well, you bought the sprayer anyway. But that led me to think, well, we're always going to have those situations where I've got these 2 chunky sprayers here. If you look at these tubes, especially that one, and the size of the hoses and the diameter of these 2 hoses, these diameters are thicker. Let's put them together. You see the new one to the old one. The one on this side is the thicker one, these 2 machines, and this is thinner. So this takes a lot less paint. This could take, for the paint to get from the hopper to the gun, you may only need a quarter. I don't even know. I'm not even going to estimate. It's a tiny amount in a cup. Okay, maybe about 200 mils. So I ended up buying that to get this door fixed. Okay, to respray this blue door. A tiny bit of blue paint is all I had left, and it's done its job. So that's got to live somewhere. So now we're back to 3. Even though, if you remember, back in the day we had about 9 or 10 of these lying around. These are still going strong, and one generally is set up with a white. That is set up with whites there, because I'm about to spray some whites, and that has been cleaned out, ready to put another colour in. But everything works at the moment. We've got just clean away the old filters there and just neaten things up, get rid of a few old boards. Got a pile to neaten up. But overall, the way we spray is still the way we're still going to spray. The racks are doing their jobs nicely. These racks are still doing the jobs nicely, and we've got enough space for two medium-sized jobs or one giant job. We stack things on the floor if we haven't got space, and up on the walls as we're spraying to let them dry. If all the racks are taken up, then I do use wall space, and plus we've got the beam going across, we can lean things on the beam too. We've got a lot more leaning space, but there's no reason to change anything that I'm doing here. And personally, I still love the spray finishes that we get, and it's really, really quick. It's a lot quicker than any other spray finish. But yeah, it's still same technique. If you want to figure out or find out what kind of spray technique that we use, just go through a few of my spraying videos, most likely the last one that I did before this video, and it'll tell you my setup and what paints we use and why and how I do things, etc. Yeah, looking around just needs a little neaten up. But nothing really else has changed on that department. We're still using the same guns, we still use the same tips, the same paint. The racks are doing well. It's just neatening the workshop side, getting the CNC machine set up, putting things away. Yeah, the more I talk about it, the more I think I've got bloody good 2 or 3 days worth of work ahead of me here before Sean comes in. But yeah, that is basically all of it. Work has been going really, really well for the past few years. It's great at the moment. So I'm going to finish it like that. Been going on for about 25 minutes now. If you've got any questions, just leave a question in the comments bar. I try my best to get to you. I do leave a few questions unanswered, so I do apologise if you have asked a question and I don't get back to you. It's just because it's mainly me. No one else answers the questions. It's just me. And I've got so much on, just like I said, I'm juggling work and life and everything else. So I just don't generally get the time to go, I need to answer that. I try, 50% I probably get around to, but I do try if I can. So I hope you had a great Christmas, everyone. Hope you have a great new year. Hope 2024 brings you good luck and good fortune. That's it from me from 2023. Have a great Sunday, guys. Have a great rest of the day. I'll see you next year. Take it easy. Ciao for now.